Welcome, Wanderers, to Records of the Realms. I am your record keeper, Vinny, or Vander, depending how you like. We're going to do a quick test run just to see how this audio is going, you know? Alright, seems to be working pretty well. Let's say no to that. How are you all doing today? I am presenting a little slideshow at some point. Yes, PowerPoints. Yay. About breathing life into your worlds. I am excited to go through that. But for a few minutes, we're going to hang out. I'm going to shove some food straight down my gullet. No problems there. I definitely have eaten regularly today. On a regular schedule of eating, 100%. Affiliate anniversary. Well, thank you. Oh God, I forgot that was this month actually. Yay. But yeah, if you do not like seeing food being eaten, I'm going to try to eat it off screen. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm shoving this in real quick. And then I might get to some map making for a few minutes, and then we're going to start the slideshow promptly when we assume people are coming over, which should be 5:30 my time. It all depends on everybody's time zones. Boy, knowing people nationally and internationally, kind of a pain in the butt. Bunch of wonderful people, but none of you ever know what time it is. And then as a DM, you never know when to schedule things. Gonna do a quick chop over here. I hope you all have been having a fun time at MSVCon. I've enjoyed listening to people talk, especially people I know. Sorry to those who I don't, but it's been great hearing everybody else speak, hearing the little tales. I see we have Echo in the audience. And I enjoyed listening to you talking about your multiversal paradox that is the Damurai. I'm excited to see what the new ones you make are. Guys, I'm so hungry. One day I'll do a mukbang session. Mukbang? No, don't fall apart. They won't eat it on screen, but I am a sucker for spring rolls. These little wraps with a nice sauce. One more left for when I'm a good boy. Let's see if we have a screen ready to go. So, I have been slowly toiling away. And by slowly, I mean extremely slowly. But let me drop over to a new screen. Actually, as this is the one we're going to present on, I'm going to double check audio one more time. For those of you already here, is the music too loud, or is it solid? Sounds pretty okay to me. Music is good. I'm notching it ever so slightly down anyways, just to be safe. So, now that I have brought you over to my world, for those of you who don't know, is Vagari. And I've been hosting most of my games, except one very long Avernus run in Vagari, which has been wonderful. One of my favorites. We have done a whole bunch of stuff above the surface, but we are about to go to the Lands Faceted, which is going to be basically my equivalent of the Underdark. I'm excited to bring my whole new set of players to Mesetopolis. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm the one making it, so I guess I kind of just have to say yes I am. doing it right. But hey, who knows? And we also are going to have a bunch of other little civilizations that are possible to visit. We are going to have a whole kingdom to go through instead of what has mainly been just kind of one spot at a time for a while. They're going to have the opportunity to travel places uncharted, places unknown. Literally no one has been here before. So that is very exciting. You know, I don't know that I've been a good boy, but I am really hungry, so I'm just gonna eat the last one of this, guys. Plus, honestly, I shouldn't have food around me while I'm streaming to a bunch of people. That should be kind of curious. But expect to see Drow, Duragar, and a bunch of new homebrew races that I think most of the players, if not all of them, are going to be playing, which is going to be very, very fun, because it's going to not be as, I don't want to say gloomy, but when people go underground, they have a certain perspective of it, and I'm hoping we can change that a little bit. It's gonna be more colorful, be more bright, be more fun, even though it's gonna be called Dark Ark. I didn't just do a shot of the sauce. I should know what sauce that is. I'm very excited for you guys to Star Elves. It's gonna be very, very fun. But after this, after we spend a little bit of time here, we will be, once we have more people, we will be heading over to check out the little PowerPoint. So hopefully it's information people want to learn, because if not, just gonna hear me talk for a while. I'm so sorry. It's gonna be a lot. But right now, for those of you who are here, quick sneak peek to Lance Faceted. I have to actually make the individual maps, and I have someone who's going to be making a higher quality map at some point. But we're going to be starting at Mesetopolis, known as the Gleam of the Under. It's going to be having, you know, that waterfall mist that you get that then has like halos of light and rainbows? That is going to be the light source of that city. I'm very excited to see hopefully what the artwork will look like from when we make this. It's going to be very, very fun. You know, I normally know how to talk to people, but normally I have people to talk to. Normally I'm DMing and there are people around me. I give Journey credit for doing this alone by themselves, because that is a lot, even when you have a wonderful community behind you. So for now, after this quick little peek, we are going to honestly start futzing around with it a little bit, because like, who's here to tell me what to do right now? No one. So if you guys want to put in some input, you can see what kind of civilization you want to make. What looks good underground? Thank Echo. I'm just a lonely single individual all by him is lonesome. Pirate stuff. Although, you know, I don't you think about that. There might be pirate ships down here. There might actually be people exploring in that way. That might be kind of fun. Oh, alright, I got that. Yes, I'm excited to see. I hope everyone's having fun over at the Catchy Cantrips. They seem like a fun pair. Seem like a good time. Oh, we're gonna get those crits for players back up, so that way you have some stuff to use in the upcoming campaign. Also in Gentlefolk when we start back up, because you guys are not out of the utter mayhem yet. Another notable thing about the Plants Faceted is that they make a lot of items that most people up top need when it comes to magic, because the magic is like embedded deep into the earth. So a lot of foci, like arcane focuses or druidic focuses that are made of stone or even trees, because there is going to be plant life down here. This is where like the high-end magical versions of those come. So anyone anywhere can make those +0 versions, but to get those imbued with higher end magic, you got to get them from around here because they know how to make them. No, not yet, but we're excited for us to get back to the games and get some crits going. It's going to be mayhem unbound, I'm sure. After every break that we have, everyone gets a little crazier when we finally get back together. It's very, very funny. I'm doing a giant city map. I should be doing a fantasy world stuff, not fantasy region. Oh, I forgot they downgraded all these. Also, an FYI, check out Incarnate if you need to build map. They have a lot of free stuff that is really fun to use, but they also, if you join for the subscription, you can make a lot, you get a lot more access to more things. They have a wonderful community that just like to show off different things they build, and you can put your maps and other people put their maps up publicly, so you can actually try out and use other people's maps for different things, which is very, very fun if you just having a brain fart. Not that I've ever had one of those. I think I'm going to switch back to the main screen for the moment. Yay! Cool. The audio seems to be also doing pretty good, which makes me happy. Yeah, you guys go absolutely crazy every single time. It's super fun. Small pain in my butt, but it's fun for the most part. A secret for those who have to talk a lot: cough drops. Get the ones that taste good. People at convention who have to hawk and sell all day and talk to a bunch of people, take these just to kind of keep your mouth active, wet the whistle, so to speak. I will hydrate, Echo. Thank you. I would say the biggest problem with my setup, I got 3 screens. One of them is very far away from the others, so I'm looking over here a lot, and then little view over here for once in a while. When are you DMing, huh? You know, DM is 2 letters in Damaros, so like I think you have to now. Enter the Damarai. Right. And you know what? I'll also give 2,000. Hey, Echo, while you're here, tell me, do you see a gift a sub thing or a donation thing to charity? I did try to switch it over to the charity thing because I wanted to keep on helping, but like, not much I can do in the moment. That's a little disappointing. Let's see if I can fix that before people come over, because as much fun as it would be to get subs, I would much rather go towards charity. That's up, create fundraiser, that's there. Oh no, I can't find it. That's so sad. What is the charity called? Let's see if we can change before people show up. Yes. Yes. And yes, safe. Hopefully that switches that up. Hello all. Sorry if this is a little glitchy for the moment. Yeah, I did it. Okay, cool. Hi y'all, welcome wanderers. We appreciate you coming over from the Catchy Cantrips. It seemed like the stream was going well. Tried to join in and hang out for a little while. It was a very fun time. Thank you for the raid. Thank you MSVCon and MSV in general. Thank you, Journey. It's nice to have you all here. Sorry, I was taking a few moments to switch up my button. There was a gift the sub button. Hopefully now it says donate to charity because it says it for me. And similarly to everybody else, we'd love it if you could donate to charity. These specifically, we're trying to help out people in Gaza. I don't need to tell you like everybody else tells you about what's going on over there. Hi y'all, how you doing? But yeah, please, if you are donating at all, I appreciate the follows for sure. Don't worry about giving the subs. Please just donate to the charity. We'd super love for you. We'd super love to reach your goal to actually send the money over and help out. For now, though, thank you for the affiliate anniversary. It's been a while. It's been a fun time, though. We are going to be doing a little presentation. Everyone loves those presentations, right? The ones that, like, if you had 2 minutes of prep, you could make it in a second and talk about it for hours. That's kind of D&D and TTRPGs for me in general. But I decided to narrow down the subject to talking about how to build up your settlements, build up your people, and talking about how to make your characters, whether it's NPCs or even characters in a book, but this obviously is more geared toward like running some TTRPG nonsense, how to make it feel more lifelike. One of the best compliments I've gotten a couple of times is from fellow players who are not fellow players, my players who have said that my civilizations have felt very realistic, and that means a lot. And hearing that, honestly, just fills me with some type of joy. Hopefully y'all are having a pretty good day. I'm excited to not bore you. Hopefully, we're going to be diving into that in a second. If you want to check out any of our links, we'd super appreciate you coming and hanging out with us in our Discord at some point when you can. Obviously, everyone's got their own lives, their own communities. Love it if you could join us. And we also have some store nonsense where you can buy some very, very queer items. We are pretty queer led and we are 18 plus, so that's just an FYI for peeps. I don't know that more than just a little swearing is going to happen with this presentation, but I also can't promise anything from the crowd. Although I'm very excited to see what nonsense y'all bring along. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to just pop over to the other screen and we're going to get into the presentation. Hope y'all are excited. All right, y'all. I haven't given a spiel about us, but Records of the Realms. This channel was founded by me, but it is a community of people that are looking to make stories, tell stories together, obviously have fun and a good time, feel a little bit of emotional trauma, because that happens in almost every game I'm either DM or have played in, so just a little bit of emotional trauma, and we just like to have a good time. We make tabletops for stuff big and small for tabletops. Like I think down to 3 is the smallest we ever played, and we go up to like 10, and we love doing things virtually. virtual, but we also love to get together physically in the real world, and make and create games together, tell stories, have fun, have sad, because, you know, if you're gonna have one, you might as well have the other two. So please come hang out with us. We super love you. And now we are going to get into this nonsense. Before brief advertising, I'm pretty sure you guys all know why you're here. You've been coming through a lot of our different communities, but you should check out Mountain Shade Village or over at Churning Adventures. They're fantastic. All the stuff that's been done this weekend is because of that community, which is fantastic. I'm saying fantastic a lot, but they are. So over there you could find streams, stories, a whole bunch of other nonsense. Everyone is super welcoming. It's been a great time hanging out over there. It's been a great time streaming with everybody over there, and I've met a lot of awesome people over there. So if you aren't already a part of that community, maybe go check them out too, just because we are going through a lot of different channels. So thank you, Churning. I appreciate you having some faith in me, hopefully just a little bit, and I'm excited to see this grow over the years. The panel is called Breathe Life into Your Settlement, but not in the undead way. Our little friend in the corner is Rex. Rex will be with us on our journey to give little bits of advice. And again, we're sponsored, not really. We are partnered with MSVCon / Journey Adventures this time around. Why should you listen to me? What value? Why my knowledge? Here's my little bit of expertise. I do fine art and creative writing professionally, and also went to school for it. I am the founder of this group, this community, Records of the Realms, and also of a book, which is right there behind me, called Mr. Ron's Never Ending Notebook, which is a bunch of D&D 5e content all built together. I was not being nice. Oh, yep. Sorry, I thought you were talking to Ketchy for a second. I was like, no, I'm not being nice. I wasn't saying sweet things. And I have over 200 sessions over the last 4 or 5 years of running one complete campaign through Avernus, which was 100 sessions, and then 5, 6, 7 different little arcs, plus all the other little things here and there. I've been running it for a lot of things for a while, and during the pandemic, I ran like 3 to 4 things a week. And honestly, the thing I'm most proud of is returning players. Every campaign I've been in, players keep coming back. So to me, that means I'm doing something right. But, you know, some of us have our own little faults. Rex decided to share one of my posts from back in the day. So one thing I know about, besides like learning about how people work a little bit, I like to just make characters. I made a lot once. Thanks, Rex. Super appreciate it. Before we get to first of all, there is the 0th of all. And this is just stuff that no matter what, we're not going to talk about long term, but think about making sure these things are in whatever kind of game you're playing. They are very important to me, what I would consider, before even trying to make your settlement feeling like it's living and breathing life into it. Consent forms for content warning, how people want to play, session zeros, so you can realistically see how the groups mesh together, and again, see how they want to play. Safety tools, which help both you, the DM, the people you're playing with, and streams in advance to know, in our case, like if something's going to be a little much, we can warn ahead of time. And Stars and Wishes, which is, you can look up a little more details about it, but basically it's an after conversation normally, where after the session, you get together with your players, they tell you stars, things that were done well by anybody or anything that they really enjoyed, and then wishes, which is things they further want to see, which could be related to the plot, related to their characters, related to an aesthetic. It's just things that they wish for in-game. To me, these are important more than the fixing the je ne sais quoi, the small details of your story, but I would at the very least recommend checking these out. I didn't sneeze. So first of all, if you're listening to your players, all having fun, and always looking to improve your craft of role-playing, combat, making games. Congrats, you're already doing really well. And we all have ways to improve. I do, everyone here does, all of the ones that we watch and listen to do. We all have ways that we need to improve. So, again, after learning the tools that help you improve, make sure that you are trying to improve, and if you're already doing it, you're doing great. I hope my advice is helpful, but know that you're already on the right track. Just to add insult to injury, I just wanted to show you the plethora of maps I've made, including a small village, a floating city, a city on top of a mountain, a theme park, an underground civilization, underwater civilization, and also a place where everyone's been a lot from my games, the City of Sea and Sky. Through all these different regions that we've been, there's probably 300 NPCs living lives, going to different places. People who are in one show up in the other, and it's very fun to mesh them all together, have overlap, have the little Easter eggs and cameos. It's just a very good time. Okay, the arcs are basically campaigns, but like, leave me alone. I really enjoy my campaigns. So through the rest of these slides, I believe I've tagged them correctly. You're going to see wonderful artwork done by a variety of people, and we're going to make it very short and simple. I have ADHD. I'm not going to write a whole long thing out each time. I'm going to word for all of the additional information. So first thing, recommendation for, again, you're trying to make a settlement, a civilization, a town, a county. Understand that people are complicated, and while most of the time we are creatures of habit in a lot of ways, it doesn't take a lot to set someone off on a really different path for a moment. So you as a DM, you as a story writer, maybe there's a sweet old lady who runs an inn and something really weird has to happen with her. There are ways to justify that without going too crazy, whether it's home life, a belief that's never shared that comes forward, things that you can keep secret, or things that your characters might explore, where if you need someone to do something that feels unorthodox or out of character, understand that in almost any scenario you can make small threads go backwards to make it happen. If, again, this old lady who runs an inn goes and does something out somewhere, joins a cult, and your players are like, why did this happen? When they go back to her inn, give them little hints, reasons to explore. Maybe cultists eat there a lot. Maybe they have items that they've never seen before out in, like, on display, like banners. Maybe there's banners under the banners, and then holes under the banner. That's a Shawshank Redemption reference. You can leave clues afterwards. So don't stress in the moment when someone makes a weird choice, unless they're doing like talk to dead and then you gotta like answer right away. But calm down, look at the scenario, and see if you can just go back, and it's basically retconning in a way, but no one else needs to know that, so that's fine. But I've never done it, my players. I've never retconned a thing. Everything's happens as is all the time. This artwork and then also the next like 8 are all done by the lovely Milouette, one of my longtime players who has a lot of characters in a lot of games. Secondly, in your world, you can make up rules or laws for how things happen. But for instance, if you have a world that doesn't have magic in it, for whatever reason, no magic exists. But then, a little hint of magic happens. You broke the rules of your own world, and now you have to kind of explain that, which is a lot, but understand that the rules you set up do not have to stay that way. When you deal with things like gods, alternate dimensions, alternate timelines, anything can kind of happen. Oh, also, meant to say this at the top. Anything I write here Also, just assume there's a little comma that also says, unless, right afterwards. All these situations, all these things are ways I've developed how to play in a certain way, but they're easy to break and easy to add more information on. So don't worry. Again, if you're doing things a certain way, you're in the unless, which is fine. But for instance, in this is not something that I've talked a lot about, but some players know. My world of Vigari, people can't be born evil, which seems like a simple thing, right? But like, we have a lot of evil characters. We have antagonists, we have villains. People who are straight up evil. People from birth, and that I guess this is a nature versus nurture thing, cannot be evil in Vigari. Which means the only way for that to happen is people being pushed down the wrong path, people from other dimensions coming in. There are these little ways to go from what you're doing to go from how you are running a world with certain laws and reality, and then kind of just, again, subvert it. For instance, Sid, this character here, had a father who was basically an evil person. In all intents and purposes, when the backstory was talked about, when the characters interacted, and most people who weren't directly related to his house of worship, Vander, seems like an evil person. Now, I wrote that in because my character wanted to deal with having an evil father to deal with, which is 100% valid. But through my own finagling, my own backstory stuff, which I'm still not going to explain. Sorry, Ari/Sid, you're not going to get the answer here. It's not actually an evil character, or at least was never born evil. It was made that way. Which, again, nature nurture. This might seem an obvious thing, but understand you can do this with a lot of different parts of your world. One second. Thank you, Purple Wolf. Loops and lines. This is Bells, who is in the audience. Loops and lines are two ways I would define, again, as we're talking about TTRPGs, NPCs. And those are, everybody that you're going to be interacting with as a character. Again, running from the lady who runs the inn, to the florist, to your politicians. And sometimes you want to get information to a character, or you want an event to happen. But you want the characters to feel like it wasn't waiting, you don't want that situation to be like, oh, well, this person's been waiting to hand off this information for a while. Loops and lines is kind of how I defined dealing with someone who feels cyclical. So the bartender who's there every day, the innkeeper, again. We have an innkeeper in one of the stories. It seems weird to keep going back to this innkeeper, but there was an innkeeper, I promise. And Trinity, I don't know how you talk this long by yourself. It's a lot. Usually have players. And it feels like they're on loop, but that's just kind of the way they're living their life. A lot of people live lives like that. You have a day job and stuff, so it shouldn't feel weird to you as a DM to be like, this person makes a wage and lives a life this way. But understand that sometimes that loop turns into a line. They break out of that mold and go do something different. In the same way, people who are doing things different all the time, who are on a line, might eventually just get stuck in a loop. Adventurers might settle down, find a home, raise a family, and deal with those loops of life where they're just kind of being in the same spot over and over again, which isn't a bad thing. But understand that the perspective shift is all what you make it. So if you are worried about a character looking like they're just cyclically waiting to hand off stuff, have them go on vacation for a little bit. Have this distraction happen. Their mother is sick. They go take care of them. Make them be an absence for a while, and then come back and they can be there with the new information. It's just one of the ways to make it feel like not everyone's waiting for the characters, which maybe you want them to be, but do you want them to feel that way? Do you want them to feel like main character energy? Are they the NPCs that stand there and say, hello, how was your day? There are people like that in real life, but not everyone is like that. Lyra here, or Druid, is a wonderful expert in everything fungal. A recommendation for, again, when you're building your world, speak to experts in our world about what you're trying to do. That is talking to sensitivity experts about different cultures. That is talking, in my case, to experts in fashion, because I wanted to understand what the fashion in a flying city would be, but also the fashion of an underground civilization with bioluminescence. Those are very different things. Why someone builds a civilization on water versus near water versus in between two rivers. Talking to experts in specific fields can be helpful. And honestly, if you get an expert to start talking about what they love, they're not going to stop. You're gonna have a bigger problem, like learning too much information is the big thing. That breaks. I'm so sorry for the ad break, people. But you know what? While you're on ad break, I'm gonna take a water break. Not related to a smallest topic I just touched. Diversity, I would consider a must in any situation. Any world you're building, any region or city, there are always travelers. There's always people coming from different walks of lives. There's a smidgen possibility that a little content warning for what I'm about to say, but it's mainly just because I don't want people to take this like as a way that I would think about it. But there is like the movie Spartan and the movie 300 and the realities of what Sparta did to anyone who was born different. They removed them. So there are situations like that, and then there are obviously prejudice-based situations where you could have an isolationist country, city, whatever. It's way less interesting. Unless like you're going to it for a very specific story beat for that, it's way less interesting. I just say don't do it. But if you and your crew are in for that specific type of story type, and everyone's okay with it, go ahead. But for the most part, just have a diverse world. It doesn't hurt to have, you know, Aarakocra living underground. It doesn't hurt to have a fire genasi that lives up in the north where it's icy. It doesn't hurt to have people of different levels of melanin, of different skin tones. It doesn't hurt to have people with different number of limbs, different accessibility needs. Like, all of it's possible, especially in a world of magic or science that you're literally using the word fantasy or fiction next to. You can make anything happen, and you should. You should also be wary of having like really fun, interesting capabilities and adjustments or enhancements for characters who maybe want to go through these different processes as well. We had a character who lost an arm, which is in no way the same thing as being born with one less arm, but their character struggled with that for a while. Armaments, prosthetics exist in my world, so it's an adjustment that could happen, but there might be just a struggle that people want to look into. And I recommend trying that. I think you're going to find it a way more interesting world if you do this. Yeah, I don't want to give anyone an opportunity to say otherwise. You're going to have a way more interesting world if you do this. Use existing content. There are two avenues you can go with that. There are modules, official and unofficial, that you can use. Because as a DM, maybe you just don't need to take up the brain space or have the time. We all have very busy lives. It's not the pandemic anymore where we had a lot of time. And even during the pandemic, one of the campaigns I ran was Avernus, Descent into Avernus, because I couldn't just homebrew everything all the time. They added homebrew to it, but like, give yourself the space to be like, this world is already created and there are already interesting things built all around it. Let yourself take the full workload off and just do the little pieces that's the homebrew or the backstory stuff that like maybe you're super into. The other thing is there is a company called Limitless Adventures, I believe, and they make really awesome one-page synopsis events that happen in different regions. They also released a pirate book, which wasn't very long, but it was a ramshackled shipwreck, little oasis for people. And for my water arc, I used that as the opener for everyone to meet, because I just didn't want to put time in developing this specific idea that already existed, with events, with interactions, with attitudes for the NPCs, all already built in. You don't need to do the entire workload yourself. You shouldn't have to, but you can if you want. I'm one of those people who chooses to in a lot of situations, but you don't have to. Three Blind Mice fairy tale. I love that. And that's the kind of thing you can build around, is especially stuff that we've solved in this day and age for people. In a fantasy world with magic or a science fiction world, there's very easy ways to add capabilities for that. And one of the few, like, I love D&D 5e, but like we know this problem there, is their blind fighting mechanic. I think that could be extended upon. I actually have some races coming up, some lineages, not races, coming up in the new campaign that have different capabilities of sight and sound. Some of them have limited hearing, some have extensive hearing, some of them have limited sight, some have extensive sight. And one of the goals was to kind of make people with varying capabilities of what we consider the five senses. So numbness in hands is just part of a trait of a whole lineage. A badly working nostril was a way to build into a lineage. I speak good, yes, sometimes. Tremor sense is actually one of the abilities that's built into one of them that I did as well. And tremor sense is a beautiful way to do that. It's such a good way. It's that tough feel. It's characters with like small differences can still do the same thing, sometimes better. So that's awesome, and I love the idea of playing the three blind mice. Are you playing one of the three blind mice or all three? I just kind of have to ask that because I'm real curious now. Feeling weak and powerful. This is Corinne's character, Sprig. In the hierarchies that exist for D&D, characters start feeling really strong after like level 7, 8. I will make you an NPC. Let's put your stats together. I'm fine with that. I also have a bad working nostril and apparently respiratory system. So much talking. But feeling weak and powerful. Your players, your characters / your players are going to feel that at different times. Your NPCs should also be feeling that at different times as well. Unfortunately, the everyday commoner who just does normal things, more often than not, might just always feel weak. But maybe in their friend group where they play poker a lot, they feel powerful because they are just a little quicker with the hands, a little more intelligent. That can work on lower levels, also higher levels. We've had full systems of Fae and Archdevils and immensely powerful characters. Any one of these NPCs is individually very strong compared to a single player, a character. But next to other deities, devils, Fae, angels, even they sometimes cower. Even they understand that there is a hierarchy. Some of them understand it very well. Some of them are oblivious to it, and that's a fun thing to play with. And sometimes you see that with the simple like gang, where the street thug gang of this one alley thinks they're the toughest thing around, but they don't understand that above their boss, who they think they're stronger than, and above that boss there is the citywide boss who would, in a heartbeat. Some people don't understand a power discrepancy between each other. Some of them are very aware, and it's okay to play that. It's okay to make the innkeeper. This is a different innkeeper. Looks exactly like this other woman, but it's a different innkeeper. If your players are being bullies, if they are very strong, and they're asking for things in a certain way, the innkeeper might know better than to do anything then. But also, the town guard and all the other guards might eat there a lot and be willing to put your players in place. So understand that your characters have a part in the hierarchy, but even without them, there's a whole system working. So you could always make certain parts interact with them no matter what. Also, you should take away your character's spellcasting abilities at some point. It's just a wild idea. It's super fun. Switching over to another one of Kareen's characters that I took all of her magic away from, creating hierarchies. This is a fun little system to look into, and while it's nice if you want to make it complex with a lot of different steps, sometimes you only need really, I was gonna say top and bottom, and I'm still gonna say those words out loud, but someone who's in charge and someone who's subservient. But I think a 3-rung group is best. There's usually a newbie or someone who is very untrained in the area, someone who's been at it for quite a while, considered a veteran, and then the people in charge or full-on masters of a capability. Kareen's character Ethel, for instance, works in the Church of Selene. Ethel had interacted with people of all 3 different levels and had all different types of interactions with them. There was the newbie, Tilda, who just came from planet side. We're in a floating city. Don't worry about it. It's all going fine. Nothing's going wrong up there. And had someone who was almost sister-daughter level of interactions, of like someone to take care of, but also someone who was very impressed upon by the people around her, but was also wide-eyed and doe-eyed at the world that was new to her. A rival who was basically her equal, who they had strong feelings about each other in some ways, and then masters up top, people who were in charge of the whole house that we saw like twice, that weren't that important or relevant to the story, but they existed. If there was ever a reason, they could go up there. And again, it gives different interactions. Ethel speaking to an equal versus speaking to Tilda versus speaking to a master might speak to all of them different ways, or the same way, depending on the relationships and how people just assume she acts around everybody. And if I get same thing with if you have a rogue who, we're going to go on stereotype here, is part of an underground gang. Maybe there's a newbie who comes in that they have to train or have to work with. There's that rival, and then there's the master of the entire underground spy network. The rogue might treat those 3 people differently. And you can get more extensive with that. But if you are just looking for interaction points and places, like going to the police force or law enforcement, or going to the library, there's these different people at these 3 different levels that you could use without having to go crazy into like a whole network, unless you want to. There's the unless you want to. Temerity here, our warlock, was run by a wonderful player called Moth, who had to leave at one point during our campaign, but was a treasure. Player creations can help you lighten a load quite a bit. Moth, and thereby Temerity kind of, made a section in the city beforehand. It was a creative aspect that she enjoyed making. A place called the Jewel Chalice, which was strip club slash brothel. Also served amazing food there, and a couple NPCs and player characters either went there quite a bit or worked there. She made some small bits of the system, a few of the characters, the whole design of it was hers, and she allowed me to take it into my world and not revamp that really, but add to it. And that just saved me a corner of an entire city that I had to build. People make their own villains, their own antagonists. People made X's. A lot of people made X's. There's a lot of X's. There's a lot of social drama in Wishfall, and tools like that give you places to fill people in, and you also don't have to. You can just save them for a surprise later on, or don't use them at all ever if that doesn't fit for your story. But if someone wants to be part of the captain of the guard, maybe let them take over what the law enforcement looks like just a little bit. If it needs adjusting for your own system or your own world, that's easy enough for you to do, but that's a part of the workload where you don't have to worry about it because someone else is helping you pick up the slack, and they're most likely loving it. I'm assuming you'll know real quick. You'll know your players will be like, nope, this feels like homework to them. Or they might be like, okay, they drew schematics, they named all of them, they gave all of them spouses, and have defined all of their family dynamics. And then you don't have to do any work there, which is kind of great. But you know, one way or the other, any little bit any help you get from your players, or again, if you're creative writing by yourself, talking to other experts, or just talking to other people who write something similar and getting little ideas from not your players, but just other people who are creating like-minded things, could really help you. Pre-established relationships. You should do some of that work yourself when it comes to NPCs. And realistically, you can do it on the spot a lot, because most people aren't going to notice. And it's pretty funny when it just happens out of nowhere, where the grocer really hates the person who bags groceries for no reason. There's just a random tension there that didn't exist 2 minutes ago, but now all your characters are looking at the drama between the two and really wondering what's going on. Maybe the drunk who comes into the tavern a lot is beloved by the bartender, and not for the money, for another reason. And no one knew this before, except the time this drunk comes in and the bartender is just taking, like, full mamaing this drunken NPC for no reason. That, as far as you can quickly see it, then your character's like, why? What did this person do? The players can also set up pre-established relationships, and we did that for Light Arc, and it was the funniest thing ever. Again, besides X's, there was a character sheet that went out that had a list of probably 20 plus NPCs existing in the city, and I had everyone pick an ally, so someone they got along with, and a rival. Some people picked a couple more, but everyone did at least a minimum of one, which ended up with people that they were really attached to in good and bad ways, and people that they, even for rivals, or people that they would have been like, no one gets to kill them but me. So there's just an attachment there that is so much fun to watch. And basically all of my PCs in that one looked at the name Aster Montego. Basically someone who was a showboating dancer slash performer, and everybody hated him or just put a strong rivalry or dislike on him, but it was universal almost instantly. And by the end of the season, Light Arc, everyone loved him, and it was the funniest change I've ever seen. So please ask your characters to make these random choices that may or may not come back to haunt them, but it might just be really funny to them be like, they all really just hate this guy that's taking care of like so many orphans. And it's just players are great. I love you guys if you're out there. Yeah, by the end of it, you guys were willing to like go toe to toe for his life, and it was the funniest thing. Another recommendation: throw in politics. that's the worst suggestion ever, but it can be really, really great sometimes. And this can be as simple as like two people across the way from each other have rivalry businesses, and that could be almost like a political standoff. You don't have to go crazy and deal with the entire governing body of a whole city or nation. That being said, if you make a situation pop up where all of your characters are vehemently against the governing body's choices, get them invited to a political party. Have them go in to schmooze and talk and eat and drink and hang out and meet a bunch of new faces that if you are bored, you could just make a bunch of new ones, or make them all feel like just serious old annoying cows. They're just all they're all the American politicians. They all look almost identical. They all speak in the same voice. They have the same tone. They can't. You have to literally turn their talking up to 1.5, or else you can't get through with it in a half hour. And their views are different but the same. Don't do that, please. We don't want fantasy to copy reality in that situation. But this gives you a chance to also make unique governing bodies themselves, or again, unique politicians there. The political body of Wishfall, which was the floating city, and sorry you're hearing so much about this, we literally just wrapped this up recently, had a very unique governing body where one person of each profession was given a seat in the council that was the government. So one baker, one grocer, one person over that worked for a house of worship, one person who worked at a brothel. These people were all collective representatives of the city and had varying powers depending on what the population of that city was under their same profession. It's unique, it's weird. Look up different governing bodies. It could be a fun thing for you, which sounds really weird, but I assume you're at least a small bit of a nerd if you're watching this anyways. But if you just look up ones that are unique, you could find very interesting ways to make a stark contrast once interactions happen with government officials. Or just, again, talking to them at parties, which was very, very fun when you are a huge, when you are a giant magic user and then there's an anti-magic person on the governing seat. You gotta go talk to them and sway them to your side for a vote. These are just fun things that we have come across before, and I'm excited to hopefully come across it again. Downtime and time skips. So, they are potentially your best friends. They've been my best friends. We don't know about the orphans ahead of time. No, you didn't. Again, still some of my favorite parts was you guys discovering some of those parts. Sorry, y'all. I'm taking a quick hydration for myself. Downtime and time skips. These give your characters an opportunity to, without having a smoking gun, without having a specific objective in mind, unless they have ones from before, to just go hang out with the rest of the populace, make their own choices. We had, I think, 4 different downtime / time skip areas. And again, downtime can be like, you have the next day off before you're planning on doing a thing. So what do you want to do for that day? And we had gaps like those too, which were great. People began exploring different parts of the city they've never paid attention to before. A lot of people went to the underground area to hang out with people they really didn't know, to check out shops and wares they've never had before. The whole group got tattoos together at one point. There was a rave cave where people went to dance, which was fantastic. People celebrated anniversaries, I think, and also engagements. There were talks of weddings and then wedding plannings during downtime. This is great for your PCs, your players, their characters, because they get to plan little things and then interact with the world. This gives you potential just downtime where you can plan or think out things because they're basically playing in the playground while you're like writing out your book report. It gives them chances to find items, plot hooks, story beats, personal quests, like the next step in those. But also they might not do any of that. I believe some of the downtime they have, some of them just worked out. Some of them just like, again, Ethel, for instance, I believe just did weapon training one time with Asenar, who was our barbarian, because she lost all her magic and needed to get buff enough so she could defend herself. Some people write 2 things on their list. Some people come back with a 10-page book report. Both of them are fun if you are at least like me and enjoy stuff like that. But they might explore parts of your city that have never been looked at before. And you can also control it a little bit too. Like if you're like, hey, we're going to do a time skip of a month, be like, hey, during one of these weeks, you guys have to go to a place you've never been before. Or just strongly recommend it if being like have to is just too much. Saying no one has ever been to Butcher's Block, which is just literally where all the people who deal with proteins and meats are. So maybe someone wants to explore that, and maybe nothing interesting is going there, but you can have a really funny cutscene happen, and that's usually enough for people to just find that satisfying. Have them learn new languages. If you live in a city with very different languages from you, whether it also maybe even sign language, which was the thing that some of the characters did, and I suggest incorporating, because sign language is super helpful, also realistic, but also super helpful for people trying to communicate silently. You won't always have spells, but at a decent distance you could still communicate without making any noise, which could be a godsend. But some people decided to learn sign language. Someone tried to learn Thieves' Cant, and that did not happen. Let's see. Well, speaking of which, being in a huge, very concentrated space meant there were always somewhere to explore, and it allowed for specific character interactions that we wouldn't have done otherwise. Those words in that order. It was great to watch them interact with characters that they maybe met for a moment during like an actual story beat and was like, that person was weird. I need to know more about them or I'm gonna die. Because things like that happens. People just needed to know or wanted things, and downtime and time skips give you that breath of air for yourself, also for them, and it might give you more creative ideas for things to adjust in your city. Maybe you have a martial arts studio that wasn't a big deal, but now you want to make it a big deal because 2 of your players decided to go there and took 2 classes for a week, and they like both were like, all right, I want to learn some monk stuff, so now you make a whole monk martial arts studio there for one of the subclasses. There's different ways that you can make it work. This is Trine, who was just one of the NPCs that was cool enough to get artwork. Multiple sources for information. There might be situations where your big bad, an evil mastermind, an unknown entity, or something is the only one who knows or understands a specific thing. And that's fine, and that makes sense. But I think like 5 different people would know that Jules is a mass murderer, or Derek really enjoys to pee on the side of the road. Like people know random information by just existing in the space. Bartenders, people who do each other's hair, like any type of hairdressing of any sort. Someone who works on clothes for other people might know by just like reaching into a pocket and seeing that someone's carrying a weapon or information, because people are nosy. And people who even aren't nosy still learn things they don't want to. There's a reason why when we have court cases, there can be a bunch of witnesses, and some of them give the smallest, stupidest details, but in the same way that can be used in a court case for like 7 different people lining up a single event, same thing can happen for players talking to NPCs. Again, maybe there was a riot in one corner of the city, and as an assassination happened over on the other corner, almost no one was there because they were all at the riot, but the old lady who just can't leave her chair was looking out the window and saw across the way that a murder happened. Two people upstairs who were just cuddling because they didn't want to go heard the screams. There can be enough evidence to tie in without having to be this super secret information. And even harder information should still be knowable somehow. Things that are written in ancient tomes also should probably have at least one person who knows it, or someone who put it on like a speaking stone or a recording device to use later. Maybe it's not the whole thing, maybe it's just a piece or a teaser, but one person knowing how to, in a whole city knowing how to cast Wall of Force, it feels really unrealistic when there's multiple magic shops and there's also a library with magic in it. Maybe there's a reason why it's very limited, and again, that's okay, and if there's a reason for it, definitely do it. But if you're looking to get information to your characters, you have to put more sources out there. You have to either let your characters see it themselves or see it through recording devices, which can exist in fantasy settings, or have a person to talk to or a written account. Like there's no reason two or more ways can exist for knowing a piece of information. That saved our entire group, who were all doing murder mystery solving, way more time, because at least every bit of knowledge was kind of known by two people, or at the very least there is an instant connection from one person to the other. It just makes life a lot simpler for you as a DM to get that information out there, and then players to stumble across it at a reasonable rate instead of just hoping. Lay in some consistency. This goes similarly back to the loops and lines, where some people are that form of consistent, right? You have the person who gets their haircut one time every 3 weeks. I literally know a person like that. And some people have hair grow that fast. Weird. Some people are creatures of habit. A lot of people are creatures of habit. Some people do day jobs. Yes, Walter's very hot. This is Walter, who is husband to Ethel, who was Kareen's character. Walter himself was a very consistent lad, a consistent boy. We love a reliable man. Seriously. He made it so, being just a basic fighter, he had some fighting skills, some maneuvering capabilities. He, as a person, as a personality, was reliable both to Ethel as a husband, as someone to be there for her, but also was just reliably a good person to everybody that he came across. There were some little fissures, some breaks in the very tight-knit group that formed to solve all these problems, especially once some of the problems got solved. But Walter was one of those people, and you can have people who are this in good and bad ways, was consistently wanted to take care of and make sure that all the people he cared about was okay. That is a trait that a lot of people have, and you can have that be a consistent thing throughout a bunch of people. You can also have the opposite, where some people are just reckless or mean or awful. And being reckless or mean or awful, again, as someone who makes a world where no one can technically be born evil, are still traits people can learn or come across or not understand that it's bad. Some people might say harsh things because no one's ever told them that those harsh things actually hurt people's feelings, or doesn't understand or see or appreciate that that happens. It's just a thing that some people have, and you can incorporate that as a person. Maybe there's a person who works at a front desk at a place that one character visits a lot, and is just very harsh with people's outfits or people's makeup. There's a specific thing that this person cares about, and they're very harsh on it, and it's consistent. So if that character goes missing, or someone else is there taking their place or disguising as them, or that person just isn't on their shift at all and they love their job, people start noticing that things are weird. It's a fun, sometimes creepy way to make a world where you feel the consistency of the humans, of the mortals, of the people around you, and then this little thing goes out of place. People start missing items out of nowhere that they've never had a reason to miss before. People start showing up in places that they never would have gone before. Someone who's into mainly sports and never had an interest or passion in art is now at the art galleries all the time. Why? And those little things can really confuse players in a good way, but also could confuse the other NPCs, which then could spread rumors, and that's another way that you could get information back to players. Other people being inconsistent can lead to curiosities, at the very least, if not full-blown plots themselves, as I've seen randomly happen. Be inconsistent. As I was just saying, people who are creatures of habit, people who repeat processes, things that repeat processes, from the sun and the moon to the stars to creatures. What happens when something isn't going the way it's supposed to? It sets off alarms sometimes. Sometimes it's unnoticeable. You could change a thing and maybe no one notices, which could be better for you. Because then if that's a thing that spreads or grows, those inconsistencies become its own virus, its own plague, its own just a spread of misinformation or oddities that people might start paying attention to, for good or bad. Maybe everyone's nicer, which is inconsistent with a certain either area or group of people. Maybe they're agreeing with people more. Maybe they are less antagonistic, less assertive. That might lead to some curiosities. It is always good to be both of these things. Consistency and inconsistency are very helpful in a world, because it makes a world feel real when both of these things are happening. You as a person don't have to be consistent or inconsistent. Be whoever you are, you're a person. But when you are making a world or making an area, there are always outside forces disrupting things. If you are used to everyday life in a certain way, an earthquake comes and blocks a gate, blocks a road, because something else is happening. Other things can happen that make inconsistent parts of life exist, and that gives NPCs chances to worry, which then eventually maybe gets the PCs chance to worry. And you can decide how important those consistencies or inconsistencies are. You could use them to fully red herring somebody. You could make them central points to your plot. Little bits of each are very, very fun. But it all depends on the world that you are purposefully trying to build. And also the settlement too. Are you building a place that is a little more secluded? It's harder to get to, so things don't change a lot. What happens when a new person comes in town for the first time in 5 years? What happens when the sun changes colors? Like, there are small and big ways to make inconsistencies very valuable. Recommend trying them both out. Oh, well, we got a surprise undead tip. I didn't think we were going to get one. Have a necromancer controlling all the shops and businesses through undead minions. Okay, this is a specific point of view. That is Yvette, who is our necromancer with a gun, spouting some very interesting opinions. We're just gonna. That is all we got for this time, guys. I probably should have slowed down the talking a little bit, but I'm used to higher speed things. How are y'all doing? Feeling good? Luckily, I have a backup plan for when this happens. But does anyone have questions about world building, specific characters, ideas, questions, concerns? As we were waiting for that, I will switch back to my own screen. Hello. Well, thank you. I'm glad I could be helpful. A lot of my players said world building would be great, but I decided I don't want to tell people how to build the whole worlds, but I could teach people how to, talk about a place a little better, hopefully. Hope you guys enjoyed that little spiel. We are going to, for the next half hour, switch on over to some map building. I am building an underground map for a new region that I am going to be having characters interact with soon. But until I switch over to that, I'm going to give myself a slower break. So just any questions that you guys have, I'm glad some of the information was useful. I'm glad I got to tease some of my players who were in the audience. But now we can chill. Now we can relax. Yep, seriously, guys. Also, anyone else who's doing long runs of talking, just get cough drops. They're made to help you hear. Straighten my back. For the first time in a little while. Thank you. Candy Coated Reality. I appreciate it. I'm just getting the setup ready to switch over so we can actually keep going for a little while. Look, I'd rather be done early than late. You were a crooked shrimp. I love the idea of being a crooked shrimp, honestly. Actually, I like the idea of being a uncrooked shrimp. That seems more confusing. Let's see if I can find... I did take notes, and I forgot that there are a couple of notes that I did have. That we'll just bring up real quick. As a recommendation, there is a trope or outlook called blue and orange mentality that I highly recommend looking into. It's basically a descriptor of where alignments or moral versus ethical scales, which is like good, evil versus lawful and chaotic, tip differently, which is very useful for when you're dealing with fae, even maybe undead or some type of fiends. Orange and blue mentality is the idea of the laws and the way someone deals with the situation is differently defined. Completely different from anything from white, gray to black. It's just someone looks at like someone doing a crime in a totally different manner, depending on maybe just a word someone said or the way the sun is facing at the moment. If you're trying to describe very unique worlds, especially like Fey realms, focusing on that type of mentality, super interesting and fun way to just kind of throw people off their game, especially like lawful people who are just like, yes, these are the rules and these are the rules you have written down. It's like, yeah, but like we don't do that rule because obviously the peonies aren't out right now. What? But yeah, just another small recommendation. I'm just trying to get my screen ready for me to hop over and Charney, if you're still here, again, the fact that you just talk all the time God bless your soul. So much easier when you have players to talk to. We have an ad break. Let it tell us, please. We're gonna snooze the ads. Cool. Some of you who might have been here before, we are, or I am, currently making a new underground kingdom called the Lands Faceted. It is going to be where my Underdark / Dark Arc is taking place. I'm very excited for it. And these are just some of the cities, once I actually, draw it out, will eventually be. The starting city, Massatopolis, is going to be a large city built on top of a lake. There's going to be running water all around. It's going to be the main water source that comes through for everybody else underneath. Also, another thing, in a fantasy or sci-fi realm, you don't have to work with reality a lot. I don't know how rivers work perfectly correctly, and I'm sure the way I'm designing them, they're not supposed to be working. But it's fun. It's fine. That being said, eventually I need to actually put in maps and draw stuff. So we're going to zoom in as far as is not too far and start making little symbols. First, for the Gleam of the Under. For those of you who weren't here, this little area is going to be basically the open end of a cave where ships come in, but also fresh water comes in. And it's going to be similar to a waterfall where when the mist sprays, you get the refractions of light and also little rainbows and light glares. That is going to be the light source of this city, this whole specific area. And as players explore more, it's going to slowly get darker and darker. Which I'm very excited. Nope, we're not going to do parchment. Not even by me. What is your favorite story that you guys have heard this evening? I'm still curious. It's hard to listen to everything, and I tried my best, but we got 3 different panel rooms. It was impossible. Which, again, good for you. Highly recommend also Incarnate for anybody who is just looking to even dabble in map making. I've made most of my own maps, and they're fine, but they're useful enough for players. Some players just really need that little bit of detail. And highly recommend also having a variety of both visuals and encounters on your players too. It obviously depends on your group, but I have a range of players that can easily imagine a whole situation as I'm explaining it, and then other people who find who need maps, who need visuals, and that's okay. I also have players who super love combat and also super love roleplay. So I've kind of learned to add a little bit of everything to every session when I can, which doesn't work all the time. I don't love all these designs that they have for this, to be honest. Do I go cliche and just go Dwarven Underground? I know you need the map, Epico, but I feel like you're not the only one who needs the map. You know, I got that one posture check, and now I keep having to check my own posture because I feel myself leaning forward. So, thank you for that. Yep. See, casters also, I understand why you guys just love the magics. It makes a lot of sense. It helps you, helps you figure out distances and the craziness. Do I just use markers? No. We're cooler than that, right, guys? What caster are you currently playing, Candy? Also, Leah, thank you for following. I have one part with trees. Are you playing? Where are you playing a warlock right now, Echo? I lost track of your games. Watercolor cities. Oh, nope. That's still too close. Ah, cleric main. You will get along with Purple Wolf. Fantasy world. Okay, that's fine. There we go. Okay, well, what domains do you guys do, or what gods do you follow? Because that's a whole. Y'all might not like each other. Bardlock. Hell yeah. I need more wood. We need to put down more wood. I just have wood for that. Yep, y'all don't have wood. Okay. A good old normal human town. It's definitely a human town. Just a normal, everyday human. Ooh. Trickster and Twilight is great, and yeah. But yeah, how'd your session go? Oh wait, really? Can I have a giant cube? I need a giant cube. We're just gonna go to all of the things and see if anybody has a cube. We don't have a cube. I'm gonna have to figure out how to make a cube. Wait, hold on. They have sci-fi stuff? Okay. This is about to get interesting, folks. Well, maybe. It's locked. Okay, I'm not one of the cool kids, I guess. Hey, Cherney. Welcome back. I am setting up my civilization, which I understand as I'm saying it. That is super not descriptive. So we have this underground land that we will be doing, or playing in. I'm wondering... I can. Yes, I can. Ha 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 ha. I can't open up and show you all the details, purely because some of my players are in here. So what I can do is give a quick Spark Notes versions of what some of these guys are going to be, because it's a little important at some points. So in general, this underground area, the Lands Faceted, is going to be a place where a lot of magically enriched like soil minerals are going to be. It is also a fine area where most of the civilizations make some type of important magical item for the upper crust of the worlds. Not the upper crust of the world, the upper worlds in general. They make magical foci that are much stronger than the ones that are up top. This is also where magical paper and ink for spell scrolls and spell books comes from the tree and wildlife down here. A lot of essential ingredients for potions or even spell casting are going to be from different areas down here. So first area, let's, you know what, we'll just do a quick tour. I don't need to edit this right now. Mesetopolis is going to be known, which is known as the Glean of the Under, is going to be kind of the central location for where everybody else gets their fresh water, but also some of their base ingredients for everything farther in. This is where most people from the top side come down first and land, and then explore further or stay. They are going to be doing a thing which is similar to a couple places that exist in our realm, where if you bring books, they request that they can copy your book, give you back a perfect copy, unless it is otherwise personally valuable to you, and then keep the original themselves, to maintain a secondary form of all information that comes in through their ports. This is Drakbeck Lurge, which is known as Plunge, which has very deep growing roots. Sorry, I'm also not feeling 100%. It's the con cred, guys. Who else got con cred this weekend at the con? Anyone else? Anyone else? Which is a place that grows lots of trees with it's very specific, so I'm not going to mention it. Very large fruit, or a nut, I guess, of some sort. And they mainly make things with fibers and paper, and supply that through the other different cities in this kingdom. The other area, float along the deep ends, is a big area built mainly. This does not have all my information. Oh, I know where it is. Duh. Who else has 7 different places that they write the same thing? Just me. This area is going to be mainly for grazing wildlife and domesticated wildlife. So a lot of cattle and things that use parts of animals, or like fats, or of specific beasts of burden and stuff, are going to be growing around here. They're also going to be doing a lot of rice and other big things that could grow in like marshlands and wetlands. Columbians Leo, which is also known as Inkhome. This area has a giant crystal ceiling that lets them see the astrology of the world. They also have heat vents and are closer to some volcanic veins, and because of that produce a lot of soot and do a decent amount of metalsmithing there, but also create ink, which is very important. specifically for spellcasting ink, and a couple other types. So they use the kind of magical soot plus some other ingredients to make ink, which is what they are most known for. This is a little early to reveal, so I'm not going to talk too much about this. But Kostensen Len is an area where books are remade a secondary time. They have much more fancy books in just stylized ways. They also are an epicenter for learning about things beyond just the basic planes, including and not limited to Fonforged. If you don't know what those are, you're probably lucky, if I'm being honest. Dinner sounds good. This is Cade Loro, also known as Dropstone Town. This is actually an area that is, I'm glad Mel isn't playing in this campaign, specifically for this area. This area is made with webbing and holds up with extremely strong tensile strength webbings various parts of cities. So it's almost as big as some of the other areas, but that's because it grows vertically and not horizontally in the area. They have things that are stacked up at odd angles, and they produce silks and some other tactiles. They produce other silks and fibers that aren't specifically from trees and stuff. This is also where there will be Spider-Man-like people flinging around. So if you've ever wanted a web shooter, there you go. And then this area is a place that will probably take a while to get to. One of the really cool things about it, which I'll just mention, is that a lot of Dark Fae live here, which we haven't gotten to get into a lot, but I'm excited to. They also have a place called the All-Seen Sanctum, which I am not going to tell you what that means, because it's more fun for me not to. But that's it. That's the quick little map overview. I do want to kind of give these guys a little bit different vibes. I just don't know that I have enough options. Options, people. But let's give it a shot. So, if we make Plunge, which has tree houses and lots of people who build kites and stuff that basically do their own version of flying through the combination of cool air and then hot air from down below that meet here and make not tornadoes, but a very interesting climate for trying to fly. A lot of people take that as a challenge, so they're very wind driven. There's a lot of movement in the city. People move fast to a lot of places, and they're climbing up trees, living in tree houses. I'm very excited to see what nonsense goes on here. Do I have trees? I better have trees as an option for this. I'll be very annoyed. Cool. Trees with wind. That sure does it. Tree that glows. So there's just two giant trees. Why don't you say there's just two giant trees here? I hope it's super fun. There are Valentine Day trees, but I can't show you them because they aren't visible. For now, I think I'm good with seeing just those. You are a pain. This main area. Skip it to the next one. We gotta find some land formations. Yeah, Kareem's playing a nerd. Super surprising. I say with love and affection. Let me see if I can find some dunes. Dunes. What are they called? Terraces. Hills might work. I don't know if you guys know of the formations. I think it's mainly in China or Singapore. It might be somewhere in the east. I don't know it, so I'm not going to try to get specific with it. There are just beautiful hills that are not swamp, but very high in water. And it's mainly where a lot of the rice gets grown. I think what I read about it was like 20% of the world's rice. It's grown in that one spot, which is, considering how much rice all of us eat, wild. I had fun doing, like I said, talk to experts. I had fun doing so much research about these different places. I still have to do so much more, but it's super fun to learn about a place. Rocky cliffs. Oh, no, but these guys. Artificer, Sorcerer, you know, the super best combo. I'm proud of you for not playing Optimized, though, because it's sometimes just more fun when you just try something very unique. We love our nerds. Let's see. It's fine. This is just an overview map. It's not the final one. So if it looks just decent, that's fine. I hope you guys enjoyed me just rambling for an hour straight. You can try new clerics. There are a lot of clerics, actually. To be fair, if you made one different cleric every year that 5e has existed, you would be out of clerics by now, I think. Which just means they should be making more clerics, right? Thanks, Big Grove. It was very nice having you here. I'm glad we went chill finally. I feel like I was not chill for a bit. I was unchill. I don't know why I'm saying it so oddly, but... Well, yes, if you go with different gods, you get lots more options. Do they have just crops? Let's see if they have some crops. They don't have crops? What are you doing to me, Incarnate? I was talking you up. I was talking the game. Give me things. Ooh, cars are really great. They look so cool. But we're not going to put them here because that would just be for aesthetic. Alright guys, we are wrapping up in a couple minutes and we are going to pass you over. I'm going to just double check to see how they are doing. Let's see. the computer decided to work right, we'll do that. But yes, we're going to be sending you over to a fun crew playing their TTRPGs. Not TTRPGs. RPGs, playing some Baldur Gate. Again, thank you guys for coming. Super appreciate it. We're going to be tossing you off in a minute. Remember to go check out MSV. Go check out the Mountain Shade Village and all of their fun stuff. Also, if you want to come hang out at Records, we love having new people. We're actually looking for new players for Dark Arc and future campaigns. So we'd love to have you there as well. Me just making sure things work right as I try to send y'all off on a raid. Boom, boom, boom. Hell yeah. All right, cool. So we are going to send you guys off now. Thank you very much, y'all. And see you again very, very soon.